Hello everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another DCU update over here on my channel. If you are new, let me just say welcome, it's a pleasure to have you. And for all of you returning, I am sure you are excited to dive back into DC animation. So today we're not going to be taking a look at the newest addition to the DC Universe film library, but rather another original film. Maybe. Because one of the few things that I will definitely say before we go into this review is I was very, very surprised by a specific film in this library that came out a few years ago, because it was about two shows that I never watched, although I am starting to catch up on one of them, and that was Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. The only reason why I wanted to watch it was because it was part of this original film library, and I just wanted to finally get myself exposed to these two shows because I knew that there was such a fan base between each of these shows, as well as certain fans hating on another specific group. So I watched that movie, and I absolutely thought that it was one of the most hilarious rides that I ever experienced in the world of DC animation. So when I found out that there was going to be a sequel, I guess, to this specific movie called Teen Titans Go and DC Superhero Girls Mayhem in the Multiverse, let's just say that I got very excited because of how much fun I had with the previous film. Though I have to admit, after seeing this second installment, I guess that's what it is, I kind of feel like I've been duped. Because this movie was not necessarily an official sequel to the original, even though there were definitely some references and callbacks to Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. Teen Titans and DC Superhero Girls was a completely different film than I anticipated, as well as the fact that it was actually a DVD release of a film that was actually shown on Cartoon Network. However, I did go into this along with an open mind based on my thoughts on the other film. I had never actually seen the DC Superhero Girls show, so I was definitely curious to finally get exposed to this other show, which I don't really know too much about, nor do I know if it's even popular. And I will say, to a certain degree, the DC Superhero Girls was a very impressive experience, more than I expected I was going to get, because it really wasn't necessarily extremely funny. There were definitely some funny moments, but there were also some very serious moments. It was also a callback to something that I specifically remember from years ago, I think about a decade, and that was when Cartoon Network had a block called DC Nation, and they had these little comedic shorts, and one of them was called the Super BFFs, which included Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and Batgirl, and more importantly, very well-known voices like Nicole Sullivan voicing Supergirl and Tara Strong voicing Batgirl. So the fact that the three original voices of those three specific versions of these characters are in this show and came back to voice them for this specific series and film, that was very impressive to me. And on the other note, I was also really surprised that there was more to the DC universe that was featured when it came to the DC Superhero Girls. We actually saw that the Justice League and the Legion of Doom actually had some big roles in this film. There was a really great story involving Supergirl and how she communicated with Superman. We even got versions of the Flash and Green Lantern and Batman, and I will definitely say that what this specific film did with Batman really made me laugh. But I will still say that when you get a movie coming out called Teen Titans Go and DC Superhero Girls, you would expect to see a really great crossover, much like the previous film, especially when the subtitle is called Mayhem in the Multiverse. And you just don't get that. If anything, you only get the Teen Titans interacting with the DC Superhero Girls for about 5 minutes, and the whole film is mostly the Teen Titans just watching this DC Superhero Girls story unfold. So that was probably the biggest letdown of the film, and another big positive is the fact that we also saw the return of a beloved voice actor in the world of DC animation, and that is, of course, the great Will Friedle from Boy Meets World. He has already done a great job voicing Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond, and this time he voices Lex Luthor, and that was such a great take on Lex Luthor. I really, really enjoyed that. But in the end, I didn't necessarily walk away being extremely disappointed merely because of the fact that I got a little bit more from the DC superhero girls that I thought I was going to get, with a very different atmosphere and tone, so I do have to give them props. But for a movie that I thought was going to be a sequel, which turns out to not technically be a sequel, and not even give me a proper idea of the crossover concept, was just such a buzzkill, and I sort of feel that it was the worst part of the whole film, and that's really what I truly take away from this, even though there are some positive things here. However, I would still suggest that you check this movie out for yourself. I'm not going to say that this movie was a total waste of money. I'm definitely going to rewatch it again. Maybe I'm going to see something that I missed. But either way, I would like to know what you thought about it. If you have actually seen it, leave your comments in the box below, and we'll have a discussion. But in the meantime, everybody, I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.